Ninth Advanced English. Today we are going to see Unit 4, Prose 4, The Attic, written by Satyajit Ray. So now just I'll read out and show you the lesson, and I'll explain you later. Aditya and I were returned from the site of our new factory at Deodanjine. We were driving along National Highway 40. We had reached a point where the road bifurcated. If we drove 10 kilometers along the road that branched off to the right, we would reach Brahmapur. I asked Aditya whether he was interested in revisiting the place of his birth, which he had left after he had passed the matriculation examination from the local school to continue his studies in Calcutta. When I left our ancestral house 29 years ago, the house was almost 200 years old, recollected Aditya. So he is recollecting the thoughts. I doubt even the school building, which may have undergone many changes, will be recognizable anymore. Trying to revive old childhood memories may prove disappointing. But he said he wished to visit the tea shop of Nagan uncle if he still existed and have a cup of tea there. So we took the turning to the right and decided to drive to Brahmapur, of which Aditya's ancestors were once the zamindars. Aditya's father had left the ancestral home and moved to Calcutta, where he had set up his own business. After his death, Aditya was looking after it, and I was his friend and business partner. It was the month of Magha, that is February by the English calendar, the middle of winter. By my watch it was 3:30 in the afternoon. The sun was soothing. On either side of the road were paddy fields as far as the eye could see. Harvest was over, and there had been a good crop that year. After about 10 minutes, we came to the local school beyond the iron gates with a playing field and two storied school building. We got down from the car and stood in front of the gate. I asked Aditya whether everything was still the same. He replied that everything had changed. Our school used to be one storied, and a new building has come up which wasn't there. Were you not good student? I asked. Yes, but my position was always second, he replied. We decided to go and have a tea at Nagan uncle's tea shop, which stood next to grocery shop and opposite a temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. Soon we caught sight of Nagan's tea cabin written on the signboard over the shop. The owner of the tea shop, now over 60, a little rustic in appearance, with his white, neatly combed hair and clean look, was the same as before. He was wearing a dhoti and blue striped shirt that could be seen from under a green shawl. Not recognizing Aditya, he asked us where we had come from. Deodanjine, Aditya replied. We are on our way to Kolkata. A little surprised, Nagan uncle asked why we were there. To have a tea at your shop, said Aditya. Certainly, besides tea, I have biscuits and savories. Give us 2 nankatai each. We sat on 2 tin chairs. There was only one other customer sitting at a corner table, neither eating nor drinking tea, but sitting with his head bent as though he were sleeping. Addressing him as Mr. Sanyal, Nagan uncle reminded him to go home as it was already 4 p.m. Addressing us, he said with a wink in his eyes, a little hard of hearing, cannot see well either, but he has no money to buy spectacles. From his reaction to this speech, I began to wonder whether Mr. Sanyal was not a little crazy as well, because suddenly he stood up, stretched himself, and raising his lean right arm and with eyes dilated began to recite a poem by Tagore, Pandrashka. Having recited the poem, he felt the place, making a gesture of namaste with his hands to nobody in particular. I noticed a sudden change in Aditya's expression and I asked him to reason for it. Without answering me, he asked Nagan uncle who the gentleman was and what he did. Nagan uncle replied, Sasanka Sanyal. What can be done? He leads a cursed life, gone crazy, I think, but has not forgotten any accidents of the past. Sold his lands to get his only daughter married. He lost his wife and only son last year. Since then he is somewhat changed, not really normal. Where does he stay? He stay with a friend of his father's, Jogesh Gabiraj. Sanska comes here, has tea and biscuits and always remembers to pay, having an acute sense of self-respect. But how long things will remain like this, I don't know. Having paid our bills and ascertained the location of Jogesh Bajiraj's house, we got into the car. Aditya was at the wheel. He expressed a wish to visit his house. So, you do want to see your house after all, I said. It has become essential to do so, Aditya replied. His nerves seemed overwrought for some reason. We soon reached the house, which was surrounded by high walls. Even from the ruins, one could easily imagine how grand it must have been once upon a time. We entered the building, climbed up the stairs, and reached the attic on the sound floor of the house. This was my favorite room, said Aditya. The attic has always been a favorite with children. It is in the attic that the child seems to be in a world of its own. The portion of a wall of the attic had crumbled down, and through the window that he had been created, we could see the sky, the fields, a part of the rice mill, the spire of the old temple. In the whole house, the attic had probably been the worst hit by wind and weather. The floor was strewn with twigs and straws and pigeon droppings. Among other things, there was a broken cricket bat, the remains of an armchair, and a wooden packing case. Aditya got on top of the packing case and pushed his hand inside the ventilator, thus upsetting a sparrow's nest, a part of which fell to the ground. However, he heaved a sigh of relief when he had got what he had been looking for. When I asked him what it was, he said, "You will get to know very soon." We next went to jewelers to find out the weight of the article. The jewelers remarked that it was an antique. Our next stop was the house of Jogesh Gabiraj. Though I was a little curious, I didn't ask Aditya anything. We entered the house and went to the room where Sasanka Sanyal stayed. Sasanka's uncle was busy reciting verses from Tagore. When he had finished, Aditya asked, "May we come in?" He turned and faced us. "No one visits me," he said in an unperturbed manner. "Would you mind if we come in?" "Come in. Except for a charpy, there was nothing else to sit on, so we remained standing." "Do you remember Aditya's Narayanan Chowdhury?" Aditya asked him. "Of course," said the gentleman. The exploited child of affluent parents was a fairly good student but could never beat me. He was extremely jealous of me and he used to tell lies. "I know," said Aditya. He then took out a packet from his pocket and handing it over to him, said, "This is for you from Aditya." "What is it?" he asked. "Money." "Money? How much money?" 150 rupees. "He has said that he will happy if you accept it." Shall I laugh or cry? Aditya has given me money. Why this sudden generosity? Man does change with time. Perhaps Aditya is not the same Aditya as before. A change. I got the prize. He could not bear it. He took it from me to show his father and never returned it to me. Said that there was a hole in his packet and he had fallen through it. "This is the price of the medal. It is yours." Sasankal Sanyal was amazed. He started at Aditya and said, "The price of the medal." That could not be more than 5 rupees. It was a silver medal. Silver is now 30 times costlier than before. Really, I had no news of that, but Sasanka uncle looked at the 15 rupee notes in his hand and then looked at Aditya. There was a completely new expression on his face. He said, Aditya, this smacks too much of charity, doesn't it? He remained silent. Peering intently at Aditya, Sasankal Sanya smiled and said, I had recognized at you Nagan's uncle tea shop by that mole on your right cheek. I could see you had not recognized me, so I recited the same poem and I had recited on the prize giving day on purpose so that you may remember. Then, when you came to visit me, I couldn't help venting my anger on you. You have done the right thing. Your grievances are absolutely justified. But I will be happy if you accept the money, said Aditya. Sasankal Sanyal shook his head and said, No, money will come soon. Money will soon be spent. I would have preferred to have a medal if it were possible. I would have forgotten that unpleasant incident of my childhood if I would get the medal back. So the medal had been hidden in the attic for 29 long years was eventually restored to its owner. Sri Ram Sasanka Sanyal Special Prize for Reservation 1948 was still clearly engraved on it. Translated from the Bengali story Chilekota. So this is the real story of Sri Ram Sasankan Sanyal. So he got the special prize for recitation of this poem in 1948. So now we will see about the author. Satyajit Ray, 1921 to 1992, was an Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, graphic artist, music composer, and author. He was born in Kolkata. He authored several short stories and novels meant primarily for young children and teenagers. He revived the children's magazine Sandesh, which his grandfather had started in 1913 and edited it until his death in 1982. Roy was more interested in writing rather than filmmaking. His stories have been translated in Europe, the United States, and many other countries. Roy received many awards, including 32 National Film Awards by the Government of India, notably the Padma Bhushan in 1965 and the highest civilian honor Bharat Ratna shortly before his death. So here you can see the glossary. If you want, you can have a screenshot of this also. The hard words has been given here. Bifurcated means divided into two. Revive, to bring something back to life. Soothing, making someone else someone feeling calm. Rustic, typical of the countryside. Dilated, widened than usual. Ascertained, confirmed. Overwrought, state of being upset. Attic, the space or room at the top of the building under the roof. Crumbled, broken. Spire, a tall pointed structure on top of a building, especially on top of a church tower. Unperturbed, undisturbed. Affluent, wealthy. Smacks, drive or put forcefully into or more onto something. Thank you.